Welcome to today's Meet the Funder session, where you'll learn more about the Moving More in Everyday Life Fund. The session will be hosted by Sarah and Claire from Your Trust. Over to you, Sarah.
Hi, so I'm Sarah Shard from Your Trust, and we've got Claire here as well, Claire Costigan. I'm just going to share my screen.
Sarah, would the participants like to introduce themselves and just say what organisation they're from?
Yeah, good idea. Do you want to introduce yourself? Do you want to go first, Lorenza?
Hi, so I'm Lorenza. What am I introducing? Just myself?
Yeah,
yes.
Where are you from?
I'm from Borough of Rochdale, and the company that I run is Eliza Says, so I teach sign language to children.
That's great. And Timothy? You still on mute?
Hiya. Hi, my name is Timmy Tokwe, but you can call me Timmy. So I forgot to shorten it. You can call me Timmy. I'm right here in Rochdale, and I'm representing Caring and Sharing organization in Rochdale here.
That's great. Nice to meet you both. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just going to share my screen. 1 second. Has that worked, Claire?
Not yet, no.
Right, yeah, hang on. Has that worked?
I can see the presentation, it's just not in slideshow mode.
Yeah. 1 second. So okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're both from Your Trust, which is formerly Link for Life, and we're going to talk a bit about the Community Investment Fund, which is to encourage moving more in everyday life. So basically, it's funded through Sport England, and instead of the usual applying through grants, we've found a different way that if we sort of work in partnership with Action Together, we can build sort of rapport and help people with their funding application. So you get a bit of support on the way, and trying to interact with those groups that might not necessarily apply for funding. So the funding is through our local pilot project, which is a new approach to build a healthier and more active community. So the grants are up to £2,000, and it's to encourage moving more in everyday life. So what we're looking for is we're looking at new, innovative, creative ideas to get people moving more in everyday life. So it's not like your usual funding bids where you pay for an instructor, we fund hall hire, and then at the end of it, it comes to an end, and we're sort of looking for how many people have taken part. We're looking for different ways, like I say, to get inactive people just moving in daily life, which doesn't have to be a structured fitness class or a specific sport. It's just getting them moving and being more mobile. So it's through a test and learn approach. So the idea of test and learn is we don't actually mind if things go wrong. So it's giving you that sort of flexibility to try something that you might not have tried before. And just you can tell us as you go through your project about what's worked, what hasn't worked, what you might do differently. And after the funding's finished, how those people will stay active in some way or another. So we are looking for new creative ideas. So for example, it might be that you've got a group of people that don't just like staying in watching the TV. So we could look at maybe taking them to a film, and the physical activity part of that is the actual walking to there. or it could be some type of gardening with a bit of movement involved. So, or even like a litter pick that's making that environment more safer for people to go to. So the project and funding is flexible, so there's no sort of pressure on things to happen straight away. And if you put in a funding bid and find that there's a different type of demand, we are sort of adaptable. So we're happy for you to change the project as you go along, depending what's needed, rather than trying to stick to specific criteria. So the ideas of, like I mentioned before, of this funding is to overcome barriers. So we'd like people to do consultation with people to find out how we can take the barriers away, to offer them some type of activity that will help them move more in everyday life and help their health and well-being. And just like I said before, it's not necessarily funding a hall or an instructor cost. We're just looking at those barriers on how we can get people a bit more active in daily life. We do encourage on the funding as well, match funding. So if you put in an application, it's looking at how you can what you can offer as well. So instead of asking for money, can you put any sort of resources or staffing time in yourself as well? And the three types of groups that we are focusing on is children and young people who are aged 15 to 18, and the activity takes place out of a school setting. And then also adults aged 40 to 60 who are at risk of a long-term health condition, which a lot of people are generally at risk these days as well. And then also people out of work. So they could be out of work for a different reason. It could be that they're not motivated, they can't find work, and we're just trying to help them become active whilst they look for work or whilst they're not able to. And then another couple of focuses is we're interested as well to hear about inclusion and helping people who are socially isolated and having that focus on the community.
So basically, you probably want to know how to apply, which is obviously a key part of this. What I would say is it's probably helpful to have an informal chat with either Sarah and myself. No pressure, just talk through your project with us. We can either advise you how to make it more local piloty, or we can say, yeah, that's great, that fits the brief. You know, so it is worth having a chat with us rather than the application coming back to you for a bit more work and then coming back to us. So we welcome the opportunity to have an informal chat, either with Sarah or myself or both, whichever you want to do. To apply for the funding, you do need to be a member of Action Together. It's totally free to be a member, and Action Together will work with you on your governance, etc., to enable you to become a member. Obviously, if you're an existing member, that's no problem, you can apply. It's a very simple, straightforward application form, which is the normal Action Together application form. And if you are successful, we would like feedback during the project, and it's quite informal, but what we are looking for, and which is a little bit different from other funding bids, is we're looking more towards the reflective nature of the feedback. So actually we want to know, you know, what didn't work, what you found difficult, what you would change next time, what you might decide to discontinue doing. So that's as important to us as hearing the great outcomes and the great stories and the feedback, the positive feedback as well. It's about, this is why it's a test and learn project. It's about trying new things to see if they work, because traditionally you're not going to get somebody who at the moment is sat on the sofa watching telly to go and join a sports club or go to the gym, you know, 3 or 4 times a week. This is looking about trying to encourage people to move more in their everyday life, really. And we'd also like you to use the logos and our marketing in your project when you're doing the advertising, to show that it's being funded by local pilots. So that's our contact details. They'll obviously be shared with Action Together, or you can come back and review the recording afterwards. It's basically our names at yourtrustrochdale.co.uk. So that's really the presentation. So it's over to you if you've got any questions you'd like to ask Sarah and myself, or if you want to take it away and think about it and then arrange an informal chat. That can either be in person or can be virtually. It depends, you know, what fits you really.
Yeah, I'd like to have a little bit more of a chat of going forward, what it is I offer, and going forward to try and maybe get the funding.
That's great. Shall we, if you want to drop us an email with the days and times you're free,
Yeah.
would all be convenient?
I'm pretty busy at the moment, so I don't know off my head.
Yeah. Yeah. When you email us, send us some dates when you're free. And
which email am I best? The ones that have just been on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah. We both work together, so. You okay, Tammy?
Yes, I am okay. I just want to, I think the only thing in my mind is, does they have to have a limit date, like a deadline before the funding, before the, what's it called, the application is made? Is there a deadline for the application?
No, it's whilst the pot lasts, to be honest with you. There is plenty of money in the pot at the moment. So if you were thinking in terms of, you know, you're thinking about the project 6 to 8 weeks, and you know that's a great deadline. You don't have to have the application in the next 2 weeks. Is that what you meant, or did you mean a deadline?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant. And can I just ask, you know, just for curiosity's sake, I know you mentioned about going out to people. It was just ringing in my head. You know, we have schools, we have places. So my question is, if we had a survey, can we give it out to like schools and churches or local places to ask, you know, see if we would find people who will be interested in wanting to move about? Is that another good way to do it?
If you're doing consultation with people, that's great. So the best thing to do is probably to have a chat with people who aren't actually doing too much at the moment. Have a chat with people in general in the community, see what they want to do, and then maybe come back to us and let us know what feedback you've had. If it is to do with the school, we would sort of have to hit the 5 to 18-year-old outside of the school setting. So we're looking at reaching out to those people who are inactive. But yeah, it's probably best to go away, have a think about what ideas you've got, get a bit of feedback from the community, and then arrange a call with us, see where you're up to, and then we can look at next steps then. Does that answer your question? No, that one.
Yeah, Timmy, it's okay to do consultation with school children in a school setting, but if you wanted to actually deliver a project, it would have to be either after school, in the holidays, or at weekends.
Has anybody got any other questions or? No? Brilliant. Is there anything else you want to add, Sarah or Claire?
It's just like we say, we're really flexible as well. Like you say, I know you're both busy and you're trying to work out your consultation. So, you know, half term next week, go away next week, the week after, and then maybe give us a ring, or we'll arrange a call. And you know, once you had a bit of think of it, we can take it from there. But like Claire said, it's best sometimes to do a bit of consultation, put a bit of thought into it, rather than just go straight in and just throw an application in. But we're here, you know, we really want to support projects, so we want to work together with you. We don't want to leave you alone. And even if you don't know what you want to do yet, that's a good start, because between us, then hopefully we can find something.
Can I just add one thing? So I teach sign language. So it's always an active class. It's not, I don't sit down and we don't do it boring. But I would like to keep everything, my whole vision and what it is I work for is sign language. So going forward, is that something I can still incorporate within this project?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that sounds, you know, very creative, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for non-traditional ways of people moving more. So if people are moving more in, you know, a setting whilst learning a life skill, then, you know, that's great. Obviously, it can't, you know, it can't be in an educational setting, though. It has to be outside of those hours. But yeah, we're looking at creative ways. I mean, Sport England acknowledge that the traditional way of funding sports activities hasn't necessarily worked to get the inactive active, and that's what it's all about. So you are hitting, you know, a number of the criteria there. So yeah, no, it'd be great to have a conversation with you and see how we can work it together and create a project.
Yeah,
I think the best projects are sometimes when people are exercising without realizing it. So, you know, you could be doing sign language, and within that activity they're just moving around more, and that's, you know, they're the best ones sometimes when they don't realize, people don't realize that they're being active. Which organisation did you say you're from, Lorenza?
Eliza Says, it's my own organisation. It's new, you might not have heard of me.
Have you, do you know Catherine?
Catherine, I don't know, might I do. Where from am I?
From your trust. I'll pass her details on to you.
No, I don't think so.
No, that's fine, but it sounds a good project.
Thank you.
All right, I think we're good there, Hayley.
Brilliant. Let me just stop.